Good afternoon, Minnesota Twins fans. My name is Seth Stoes of Twins Daily and twinsdaily.com, welcoming you to another episode of the Twins Spotlight. Of course, I put the wrong date on here. It is December 4th, Friday afternoon, and I appreciate everyone joining in here live on Twins Daily's YouTube or Twitter pages. Please feel free to be interactive throughout the show. If you have any questions, Twins fans, my name is Seth Stoes of Twins Daily. Just one second. Listening to myself here. Apparently, I was watching myself on YouTube. So anyway, here we go. If you got questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the chat room. Today's Twin Spotlight is on an interesting prospect who's been an infielder the last couple of years, might be transitioning a little bit to behind the plate. His name is Charlie Mack. He was the Twins' 6th-round pick in 2018 out of high school in New York. So, you can learn a little more on him if you want. In the every year I do an annual Minnesota Twins prospect handbook. So we got lots of information that you can get on him. And we certainly welcome your questions and comments. But for today, let's just get to know him a little bit about Charlie Mack. Charles, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Seth.
Of course. Thanks for doing this. Let's start at the beginning here from Williamsville, New York, which is, I don't know if it's a suburb or if it's just outside of Buffalo, but pretty much outstate New York. What was growing up there? Did you get to Niagara Falls like weekly?
We're right outside of Buffalo. A lot of snow growing up, obviously, but it's kind of weird being right next to one of the wonders of the world. You kind of don't visit it as much as you think you would, which obviously I do a couple times a year, but not as much. But it's obviously awesome to go out there and see that. But
let's talk about the baseball there. I know that you were actually a member of the varsity program as a seventh grader. So talk a little bit about the years before that. Is there like a strong little league program? Is your family into baseball big time, or what was kind of the impetus to get you going in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, it's been baseball my whole life since I was probably 1 year old. My dad, and he played up until about 55 years old. So, he kind of instilled baseball in me and my brother. Growing up in our basement, we just, play a lot of baseball, and it was kind of funny. Like for us, me and my brother like to play some video games once in a while. So, growing up, the only way we'd be able to play video games is if we got our baseball in. So, it'd be kind of like a little barter system, hour baseball, half-hour video games, that kind of deal. So that kind of pushed us to, do some more baseball and, got better that way. And then, growing up, just branching out to different teams at a young age, get out of Buffalo, New York, because, not much, happens here except for snow in the winter, and it's, not the best ball. So, get out of here and, go see the world a little bit and play against all those, guys from around the country. So it's been great.
Yeah. No, I mentioned you were in varsity in 7th grade. That's difficult, playing against guys 5-6 years older than you. But, what was that experience like? Right away, obviously you don't keep in the lineup if you're not producing. So what were those years like, the first few years on varsity?
Definitely a little bit of a learning curve, from before in middle school and, on the small diamond. It was a pretty quick transition from, small diamond to varsity ball, but it was a pretty good transition. My coach, Coach Gauze, he really helped me out with that transition early on, and, helped me, have, the captains kind of take me under their wing and kind of stuff like that. So that really helped me out early, settle the nerves a little bit. And, definitely just helped me relax the plate and, relax in the field and help me produce a little bit.
I remember as a freshman, I got moved up to varsity, and it took a few days or a few games even to just get their confidence into the point where you could almost relax a little bit. But it's not easy. And then as you transitioned, you got older. When did you start maybe appearing or going to some of those more national or even regional, the perfect game types of events or the area code games? When did you start kind of getting out there in the national spotlight, so to speak?
It actually started off really early. It started off when I was about 12. I played for a team called Gallagher, and they were out of like Middletown, New Jersey-ish, like tri-state area. And I connected with them when I was playing like 10U ball, this local Babe Ruth ball, and we had this Little League World Series kind of invitational thing, and a good team from Middletown, New Jersey came over, and I threw a complete game. Unfortunately, got walked off by my soon-to-be one of my best buddies, Tyler Raz, and kept in contact with him, and they needed a guy, and they remembered me from pitching that whole perfect game, that whole complete game, and gave me a call, gave me a shot. So got to give them props for that. But just kind of snowballed from there.
We'll keep talking about Charles Mack and his I guess emergence as a prospect and now in the Twin system. But I do want to welcome questions if you've got any. We're going to start with one here. We got one from David, and it's Mets or Yankees fans growing up. And I looked at where Buffalo is relative to Toronto. It's probably the Blue Jays, right?
Correct. Yeah, I've only been a few Blue Jays games, but actually growing up, I didn't really have a favorite team, which was kind of crazy. But my dad was a Red Sox fan, he like his whole life. So if anything, it would have been Red Sox. But I didn't even pick a favorite team. I kind of just followed players. Derek Jeter, Nolan Ryan was a big one growing up because I was a pitcher. I was kind of like a pitcher. I did everything. So Nolan Ryan was a big guy. I watched a lot, and then Derek Jeter and all those guys. So never really a specific team, but more players.
Sure. So you did commit to Clemson, and fairly early, I believe. What was that process like? Obviously a great school. I think 2 rounds after you were taken, the Twins took Chris Williams out of Clemson. I know they've taken other guys from there as well. Have you had those kind of conversations with guys that went there, or what was it about that school that made it the right choice for you at that time?
Yeah. Of course, I always ask, was it worth it to go to college and stuff? And they always say yes. But, I think it was about freshman year it started. I went to a camp at the Hit Doctor in New Jersey. It's Joe Barth's place, and he had a bunch of schools, and there's a bunch of schools. We just did BP in the tunnels, like the cages and stuff, and if they liked what they saw, they kind of got your email, and just took it from there. But it was kind of a crazy transition. It was Andrew C. from Duke at the time. Got my info, kept in touch, and then he got transferred to Clemson when Monty Lee took over, and definitely interested in Clemson. Great program there, great legacy there. So from there, got an offer from them and had to take it. It was my first offer, but it was great, so I had to take it.
So then 2018, your senior year, like you said, 6 years of varsity already. I imagine there's an interesting, you want to keep playing with your buddies and all that kind of stuff, but you're also ready to move forward, whether it was Clemson, but as the draft approached, what type of things were you hearing? Were scouts talking to you directly, or were you hearing through coaches and things like that maybe? What was the process that you were seeing as a player?
Yeah, it was mostly just me talking to the scouts, and then through my agent as well. It wasn't too much scout talking to coach, talking to me type deal. It was more of the relationship between me and the scout, and then the relationship that I have with Ron Burnick, which my buddy that throws to me every day. He was actually, I was fortunate enough to have him throw BP on the field before games and stuff, and the scouts really, got to know him, and we kind of talked through that too. So that really helped too.
Which Twin scout were you primarily, or who was the area scout?
It was Nick Venuto at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. And I think he covers like Pennsylvania and
I don't think he's the area scout necessarily, but he's the one that kept in contact with me, so I gotta give him the credit.
So 6th round, had you been hearing kind of, or general area of where you'd be taken? I imagine it's one of those, it's anywhere from day 2 to, end of day 3, but what were you kind of hearing leading up to that? And were you surprised it was the Twins that showed interest and actually took you then in the 6th round?
Yeah. I mean, you really never know. It's all up in the air, and I had some calls, but some things like fell through, some things didn't, whatever. Just you never really know, so it's kind of hard to tell. Give yourself an idea of where you're going to be at, but you know, uh, I would say like, wait, what was that? What was that second part of that question?
Oh, just when the Twins took you in the 6th round, was that kind of the general area you were expecting? And was it surprising that it was the Twins?
Oh, that's right. It was actually. The Twins were one of the only, like, one of 2 teams, I believe, that didn't actually have an in-home visit, which was kind of crazy to see. So that was kind of weird. So it goes to show you that anyone could take you, even if you don't talk to them necessarily. So they kind of took me by surprise. I was in contact with a guy named T Money from the Rangers, and he was over a bunch of times, saw me hit a bunch of times. So, and he was in contact with me on the day. So if anything, I was like thinking, maybe Texas Rangers and with T Money, but it actually wasn't. So it was kind of cool to see that.
Okay. Before we jump into pro ball, you've talked about your dad playing baseball until he was 55. You've got a younger brother that just signed with Clemson. We talked a little bit beforehand. And he had a varsity experience. How much did you guys play together on the same team? Very much. And I imagine that had to be pretty cool, at least now that you're away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a senior now, so we played, a couple of years. So it was awesome just to get that, chance to play with him again. I played with him when I was 10, and he was like, 7 years old or something. He was on playing up like usual with him. He's crazy, but he's playing up, and then finally got the chance to play with him again, the last couple of years in high school, which was awesome. So, I'll take that when I can get it,
Yeah. Well, and I think you have a sister that plays college sports too, right?
Yes, she's at Hartford.
Okay.
Yep.
Big sports family. Did you play other sports? Did you participate in other things throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Well, in upstate or outstate New York is, like you said, a lot of snow. Coming from northern Minnesota, I get that. So were you able to do other things throughout the year?
Yeah, we played. I played basketball. I played volleyball, and 1 year of football, but that was way before. So I wouldn't really even count that, but definitely basketball and volleyball to keep me busy throughout those winter months and stuff.
All right. We're talking with Charlie Mack. He's a prospect inside the Twins organization, 6th round pick in 2018. My name is Seth Stows of Twins Daily. Again, welcoming any questions if you're able to watch live. I know it's early in the day, on your lunch break maybe. Send us some questions and we'll ask them if you have them. I want to ask you a little bit about, you talked about Clemson, but how difficult was the decision to sign? I know that, especially with those top 10 picks, teams don't like to make those picks and then not sign them for obvious financial reasons as well. But how difficult the decision was that for you? I know you definitely liked Clemson.
Yeah, no, definitely. It really stunk for, just me feeling like almost letting Clemson down, I guess. But it's not that. So definitely, it's a win-win in the end. But Monty Lee, like him and the whole staff treated me so well. So kind of felt almost bad to say, I'd be declining that, but in the end of the day, but you have to do what you got to do. So Tech took my route, and in my opinion, the fastest way to be a big leaguer is play professional baseball right away. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do.
And I know the terms, for whatever reason, of these signing bonuses are out there. And I won't ask you anything other than, did you buy yourself something? Did you buy anything? Did you put it all away?
Right away, I put everything away. Like, just gave it to my dad. Let's let him invest it. So he's doing that. I mean, I bought a car, but that's about it. It wasn't until a few months ago I bought that, so I didn't buy anything right away. So no.
That's probably pretty smart. All right, let's talk a little bit. As you started your pro ball career, you soon went right down to. Did you go to Target Field to sign, or did you sign in Fort Myers?
I went to Target Field, but I didn't sign there. I just took the physical there, and I signed in Fort Myers because they were waiting for the money from Trevor Larney, the first rounder of that year. So I had to wait. I actually waited for a while, like an extra month or so. I was just at my house. So didn't actually really play too much that first year in GCL ball, but eventually got down there and signed out there.
Yeah. When you went to Target Field, did you have a chance to meet people besides the front office? Did you meet I don't know, if the team was at home, meet some of the players or the manager or anything?
Yeah, definitely met some of the front office guys. We were in the same suite, so it was pretty awesome. I was with Michael Hellman and Cole Sands, so we kind of clicked there, so that was pretty cool. But obviously it's a awesome field, and we took the tour. It was great.
And then when you got down to Fort Myers and actually were able to start playing and doing things, I assume it's a few days, but that's a lot of people to meet. Like you said, playing with guys from all over the country, all over the hemisphere, really. I mean, guys from the Caribbean and Dominican and Venezuela. And what was that adjustment for you to pro ball?
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it this way: I'm not the best with names, so tell you what, definitely the first couple of days really got me. A lot of high up guys, you have to know their names and know what they do and know their importance and how they can help you and all that stuff. So that was a little struggle at first, but obviously we're good now. So yeah, but it was definitely a big turnaround, especially not playing baseball for months after school ball ended and then going to see that 95, 97 every day. It's definitely different, but it's awesome.
Absolutely. How much, how much practice or did you use them in games? How much wood bat experience did you have before pro ball?
I actually used wood bat in high school. So that was, I've been comfortable since probably freshman year. I was using it in the WWBAs in Georgia. Okay. So, getting used to it early. So it definitely helped.
Did you know anyone in the Twins organization when you signed, either playing someone, in a national team or anything like that when you joined, or was it all new faces?
It was new faces.
Okay.
It was new faces.
Going down there, you've got the academy, where you can stay, and obviously you've spent the last couple of springs there as well. For those listening, what is the academy life like? I mean, obviously it's different this year than it has been in the past, but when you're in the GCL, it's basically your hotel room, but it's where you live. So just talk about a typical GCL.
I mean, typical day, I would even put this for almost everyone. A typical day, wake up at about 7:45, get down for breakfast at 8, then either work out or you got throwing, and then got hitting in the cage, and then team fundy, or then you got individual hit defense and then team fundamental defense, and then get some lunch in you, and then you go play a game. So it's a full day. You get your stuff, you get your work in, but you get it work in pretty early, so you finish at about 3:00, 3:30ish. So you have a lot of time. And going into this, I didn't think I had a lot of time. I thought it was just gonna be one thing after the next, baseball, but you get done at about 3:00, so kind of just go back, shower, unwind a little bit, hop on video games you play, Call of Duty, like whatever you play. I feel like we kind of grind video games over there. It's pretty sweet. It's a pretty cool atmosphere. But other than that, eat at about 5:00, and then you just get your rest and rinse and repeat. It's pretty much the same day. So you kind of lose track of days. It's crazy.
Sure. And then how about those August days, noon games, or I think noon games or 1:00 in Fort Myers. I mean, physically, how did you handle that? Again, I know you played in the summers before, but I mean, Fort Myers, Southwest Florida's heat and humidity is a little different.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure you're drinking water every part of the day. I think I was drinking, just before I left to go there, I was drinking a lot of water just to, get my body, try to get it, acclimated to the heat, and so I wouldn't, sweat everything out. But, they put a big emphasis on hydration now, especially they're called osmo tests, and you do it every morning. You take a little bit of pee in a cup, and then you put it on the osmo reader, and it tells you how hydrated you are. So that's one of the big concerns, because you get a lot of hamstring injuries and a lot of injuries out of being dehydrated. So that's one big thing. But obviously definitely playing double headers at noon, and it's crazy. A lot of yeah.
So tell me about Elizabethton. I know the drive up there was, I'm sure, fun on the bus, but I know there's been some stories over the last decade there that I followed that. Tell me a little bit about, the Elizabethton experience in general, but, more important, Ray Smith, Jeff Reed, two guys. I mean, Ray Smith has been 45 years in the organization as a major leaguer, as a minor leaguer, and now as a coach and manager. Jeff Reed was a Twins draft pick, first round, spent 17 years in the majors and has been hitting coach there for 18 years. I know both won't be back in the organization in 2021, but I can't imagine. I mean, that's two guys to learn from that know a lot about baseball.
Definitely, yeah. Those guys, I can't say enough about them. They're awesome people, first off, and then obviously they know the game really well. Even all the hard patches that you go through during the season, those guys kind of lift you up a little bit. So I can't say enough about them. It was so positive, so everything. But my time in Elizabethton was obviously fun. A lot of good times there with all my buddies. Some weird situations sometimes. It's a little bit different way of life. I've never seen that, and not used to that. So it was a pretty cool experience. But at the end of it, I had me and 6 other guys. We were living in a house. A half of the house. It was pretty crowded. We were all on top of each other. But it's bonding. It builds you up a little bit. So keeps us keeps our team close, and we have a lot of fun there.
For sure. And one of the things, one of the scouting reports on you as you were drafted was that there was some power potential there. And you started showing that in 2019, I think 8 home runs, 8 doubles at Elizabethton, which, I mean, that's different than like when Eddie Rosario and Miguel Sano were there hitting 20 home runs in their summers. The fences were in quite a bit. Now, I know they moved the fences back. So, I mean, 8 home runs in Elizabethton in 53 games, that's legit. So, talk about yourself as a hitter. Do you describe yourself as a power hitter, or are you average hitter, meaning batting average, patient, aggressive? How do you describe yourself?
I would say more of switching more to a power hitter. Just try to focus on gap to gap kind of thing, because I have power to both sides of the plate of the field. And when the going gets tough for me, my best spot's left center. So for a lefty, that's kind of unique. So definitely for me, in that case, you could say patient hitter, but I try to be more aggressive, especially early in the count. And last year went through a little rough spot with some strikeouts, so I wouldn't really say I'm a average hitter, but trying to limit those strikeouts and a lot of ground outs to the right side. So trying to limit that in my training now. So trying to just become a overall more complete hitter. So yeah, definitely.
I mean, when you talk about hitting the ball to the left center, I talked to Trevor Larnach about a year ago. You mentioned him already, about how a lot of his power is left field. Alex Kirilloff, a lot of his power is to that left center. And then they're learning to pull the ball for power as well. Is that part of what you found as well?
That's what I'm learning.
That's natural?
Right now. Yeah. So in my swing, I first of all, I'm a hypermobile person, so I can use my body. My body's a little bit more like loose, I guess you can say. So when I would stride at the plate, sometimes I would stride in a little bit, and what that does is cut yourself off and kind of doesn't let your hands work through as easy. So a lot of ground balls to the right side. So this offseason, last offseason, been training with Bryce Berg from the Twins. He's a hitting guy, and trying to remove that and try to get some better lift and better carry on that ball to right field. Try to do some more power to right too, and not just left. So, but it's definitely been a good thing. It's definitely going to help me in the long run. So.
And we do have another question here from David, which transitions into my next topic, another one we talked about a little bit. You've done some catching. How does that experience and knowledge benefit you as an infielder? And we talked a little bit about how I think your first year you played mostly third base.
Yeah.
At Elizabethton, I think it was a little more third base but quite a bit of second base.
Yep.
And I know that in instructs this year you had moved to catcher. And if I've learned anything in covering Twins minor league baseball for 15 years, it's you never know where the need's going to be. So having a little experience at a lot of places can be very beneficial. So
Right.
how do you look at yourself as a defensive player at this stage?
First off, I think I think it's really beneficial to play more positions, and just for everything. We're doing a lot of talking about what makes a good catcher, and it's hands, especially for us because we're a receive first catching group. And being a third baseman, second baseman in pro ball and shortstop all my life, definitely helped me work on my hands a little bit. So that helps with receiving a little bit and helps me learn quickly. So I think it benefits both sides of everything, knowing the game and just helping yourself with like the tools that I developed over my years of playing infield. So it all kind of works well together.
And I'm assuming in high school you probably played shortstop because that's where most people play, that eventually are going to, we look at Travis Blankenhorn, Michael Kadire. These guys were all drafted as shortstops, but everyone knew they were going to move. I mean, the Twins signed Miguel Sano as a shortstop, so that would be the best definition.
Yeah.
So where do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable at both infield positions at this stage?
I would say catcher mostly, but in the beginning, definitely not. It's quick. Back there at first, your eyes aren't adjusted, and the first couple pens aren't too fun. But you kind of settle in a little bit and do a lot more receiving, especially in game and in the machine, and do our work in the morning, and really get prepared for that live and like the live games and live ABs and all that stuff. So definitely very comfortable back there now. But I would even say more comfortable behind the dish than in the infield.
It's funny. I didn't want to play catcher at all as a high school kid, and even into college, I didn't want to play there. I was an infielder, and in the summer, my brother got hit in the nose with a pitch, so he had to miss like 2 or 3 weeks. So someone had to catch. Well, we had a soft tossing guy that was throwing to start, and I was like, okay, I can do it. I'll try it for a game. And then in the 8th inning, we had a close game, and we brought in the 92-mile-an-hour slider throwing pitcher, and it was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
The adjustment that you're talking about, it happens so fast. But I'll tell you this, too. I've never enjoyed a position defensively as much as I enjoyed catching after that. What are the things about it that do kind of intrigue you as you go forward?
I mean, you could always improve, and there's so many numbers on every part of receiving and every part of the game now. And yeah, exactly. You're a quarterback of the field. You're in every play. You're just commanding the field, so it's pretty awesome all around. But I think it's pretty cool that you can see your yourself getting better in your receiving numbers and all kinds of different stats like that, like pop time, throwing guys out, even calling the game, that side of the game. We do a lot of like group catchers meetings, and we learn about a guy, a hitter and a pitcher, and try to focus on those guys and get them out the best we can. And we did a lot of that in the camp that was in September and October. So it's a overall sweet position. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
And how much do you work with the numbers? I imagine coming into the organization, I'm guessing your high school didn't have TrackMan and Rapsodo and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, who knows? Maybe high schools do now, but I'm guessing
we definitely didn't. Nope.
That's not what was the transition for you in terms of how much information is now available? And I know even in the 3 years you've been around, or 2 years you've been around, I'm sure there's even more. And how you actually take that into a game, or into your personal, I guess maybe even off-season planning.
Yeah, you definitely have to take some of that stuff with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, I think you have to kind of realize yourself what makes you a good hitter, because that stuff could take your mind off it and just become a numbers game, which is not good, especially at the plate. I've done everything, with K-Vest, which is a kinetic sequence. I've done blast motion. I've done hit tracks, Rapsodo, all that kind of stuff. So even pressure plates in the ground. So there's so much information out there now. You can kind of get just encompassed by that and just really just focus on that. And some of that stuff is good if you have a flaw in your swing, you're trying to get that out. Work on a certain thing in your swing, whether it's like early connection or power numbers. And you can kind of track that a lot easier, which is awesome. But there's some guys that get really into that side of the game, which I feel like could hinder some people sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely up to the individual, I think, but it's kind of interesting that it's there. I want to talk quickly about your 2020. I know I was in Fort Myers the week before things started getting a little crazy. For you, what was the experience? I think you were down there for a while already, but what was your transition back to, I assume, back home?
Yeah, we just getting comfortable. We were just kind of settling in there and had some meetings about what COVID was and all this stuff about it, and they were just acting like it was just under control. We weren't going to go anywhere. We are just going to just resume work as usual. But then the next day we got a meeting like right away, and we're going home the next day. It was crazy. So really hectic, really unexpected. But it was just weird being home. We didn't know how long we were going to be. At first, the first thought was a couple of weeks, quarantine for a couple of weeks or whatever it was. And that definitely wasn't the case. So it was just a crazy, rest of the year. I think the camp we just had really helped out, kind of get back on track a little bit. So that was huge. But yeah, it was just definitely weird. It's crazy it had to happen to us,
Yeah.
So.
What I mean, for pitchers, it's different. You have to find a catcher. You have to find some other things. I imagine, were you able to just, once the weather was okay, get into a cage, or were facilities open for you back home to be able to stay ready, so to speak, for an unknown time period until you heard about Instructs?
Yeah, we have, it's called Hot Corner, and it was open. So I was just training there every single day. Just being ready for that call. You never knew when you were going to get it, and we ended up not getting it. But just definitely staying ready there. So that's helped out a lot.
And you talked about Instructs. Do you have any sort of plan now? You mentioned, you went to Instructs, you want to work on the power. When do you start, I guess, preparing for 2021, which I still don't know if we know for sure what's going to happen. We may not know until January.
Yeah.
How do you mentally kind of prepare for that? I mean, it's preparing for the unknown.
I know they're thinking. I saw a tweet that was in one of the group chats. They're thinking, almost April. So, but obviously that could get switched up and pushed back even more. So, starting even now, I took a little bit of a break, probably about 3-4 weeks when I got home, just to kind of let my body relax, and still worked out during that, but just try to let my body reset fully, because I was just going at it for the past couple months. So starting back up now, and with the hitting side at least, and the catching side, so just going to be attacking that stuff. Just to get ready for that 2021 season. And if it doesn't come, then obviously just keep on attacking and just keep on getting better.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing I'll ask you and let you go here, we've been talking with Charles Mack here, Twins prospect. Away from baseball, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing? I guess hobbies or whatever it might be, activities to like you said, get away and do something different.
Yeah, I'm actually a big Fortnite player. I've been playing that for a bunch of, I think it was 2 years now. So I've been playing a lot of that. New season just dropped, so I've been grinding that. And then my brother likes Call of Duty too, so we play some Call of Duty, some zombies once in a while. Yeah, so we stay busy on my computer when I'm not, at the facility working or working out. So
yeah,
you gotta do something
awesome.
other than baseball. It's crazy.
Yeah, otherwise it's all encompassing. You got to get away and rest those muscles and all that kind of stuff. So in the mind too, it's been a weird year, but I want to say thank you very much for joining today. It's been a lot of fun to kind of get to know you here a little bit, and I'm sure as people listen to this, whether it was live or later on Facebook, Twitter, Snap, not Snapchat, YouTube. We'll have it also download on the Twins Daily Podcast, so you can listen to it wherever you listen and download podcasts. Thanks, Charles. Have yourself a good one. Obviously, enjoy your off season, and like I said, hopefully I'll see you in Fort Myers at some point next year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks for having me, Seth. This was great.
All right. And again, thanks to everyone for listening. David for all the questions. And everybody have a great weekend and go Twins. We'll be back Monday night with another Twin Spot.